Am I the asshole for shutting down my sister's opinion about our baby name? Throwaway because I'm using real names. Okay, here's the situation. I am expecting a daughter in November with my fiancée Claire. My name is Cody, so we'd like to keep the C theme going. If we have a boy later, he'll be Charles after Claire's grandpa. My fiancé and me really like the name Keely, but we're spelling it Seely or Cheely with a hard C to keep the theme. The problem is my sister Angie. She's child-free, but she's still very opinionated and judgmental about names. She strongly prefers traditional common names like Emma and Madeline, and she's been very pissy about the name we picked. Last weekend, we went to her and her boyfriend's place for Memorial Day, and she took my fiancée Claire aside, supposedly to help cut vegetables. Actually, Angie just wanted to rip into my fiancé with her name opinions. She said we should forget about Cheely. She said she'd already talked it over with our mom Claire's MIL, and they'd decided that we should go with Catherine Katie instead. Claire of course said hell no to that, and called me. I came in, and I told Angie we needed to go. In the car home, we called my mom, but she wouldn't admit to agreeing with Angie about belting the name. I don't think my family has veto power, it's our choice as a couple and they should MYOB. However, Angie has Asperger's, and she's the person in the family who says what everyone is thinking, but no one will say. If multiple people in the family hate this name, I worry that the negative vibe will impact our daughter. Am I the asshole? Or, are we the assholes for not taking family feedback into consideration? Please do not name your child Cheely just for the sake of keeping C names and your own vanity. The choice is the parents' in the end, but there's no need to be ridiculous. I'm sorry, but your choice of name with a hard C that is not obvious is going to cause that poor kid issues. Cheely especially is going to be horribly mispronounced and going to end up being called Cheesy or Chi-Chi. There are so many names that are very similar with more obvious pronunciation, like Casey, Callie, Cassie, and Courtney, that are very lovely. I say this not as someone intent on attacking you, but as my knee-jerk reaction that will be shared by thousands of strangers in the future whom your hypothetical daughter will have to interact with. Cheely is a fucking awful nonsense name. No one will pronounce or spell it correctly ever in her entire life. You know what sounds the letters of the alphabet make? Get real. You're not naming a baby, you're naming a person. Be an adult and give her a name that's fucking spelt correctly. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. Cheely is a stupid name. You get to pick your kid's name, but why would you set up that child for bullying? Picture that name on a resume. It's ridiculous. Please don't name a child Cheely. Having to change my judgment to ESH now because in fact, OP is also an AH for wanting to name his child this. Esh. Your sister doesn't get a say but your name choices are horrendous. Keely? Seely? Cheely? Is this a joke? You're the asshole for picking the name Seely. Your sister has a valid point, why not pick a more common name? Keep in mind you're not just naming a baby. You're the asshole. Why would you inflict that name on a human? You like it? Change your own name to it. I didn't even read your whole post, stopped at you deciding to name your kid something that will be a burden to her for her entire life. Just BC, you want it to start with AC. You're the asshole for this. Not the asshole. You guys are entitled to, but I must admit the name spelling is tragedy. You're the asshole for the choice of name. Not the asshole. But, please don't do that to your kid. It will be mispronounced by every single person that reads it until the day she dies, and probably after, just so that it could begin with AC. You know they will call her Chilly and worse in school, right? So yeah, you're the asshole for not hearing out your family's valid concerns. You're the asshole. Come on, please, you can do better than those names. I can almost guarantee your sister is not lying when she says everyone hates the name. You're the asshole for so heavily considering it, lol. Esh. Your business, but why set your kid up to be called Cheeto? 100 chance of that. Calm down and get normal for the kid. Find other outlets for your creativity. AITA to your child honestly. Seely? Chili? Shishi? Get real. You're the asshole, I mean, come on, any supposed adult planning on calling their kid Seely or Chili and literally mispronouncing it to Keely deserves to be called out. Made up shittily spelled names are awful, it messes your kid up and identifies the parents as being low IQ and low class. You're the asshole for choosing a name that will forever be mispronounced. Find another name that starts with C, it ain't that hard. So you would have been fine if your parents named you Chody since you think it sounds the same as Cody. Esh. They don't get to decide what your child's name is gonna be. But fucking Chili. Seriously. Your kid is gonna be bullied to high hell. Please visit the Name Nerd sub to get recommendations. The names you've picked are awful. You're the asshole for that stupid ass name choices. Good thing your sister said something, because holy shit, why would you name your kid Chili or Silly? This is straight up ridiculous. You're the asshole. Seely will never be pronounced like Keely. It's two completely different names. There are plenty of other girls' names that start with C. Please don't do that to your child. Do not put a burden on them from the day they are born. I hope it's a boy. Not the asshole, but that is a seriously terrible name. Grimacing face, please don't name your child that, it's so awful. You're the asshole. Not only for that horrible name suggestion, but trying to keep a theme name going. There are much better names that won't leave your child with years of bullying mispronunciation. I suggest going to find something more appropriate. You're naming a child, not a pet. I don't want to make you feel bad, so I will avoid passing judgment on your proposed name. Just want to share some other C names in case you decide to shop around a little more. Carrie, Casey, Clary, Catherine, Cora, Clara, Charlie, Cambry, Callie, Candice, Corey, Christian, Celeste, Candela, Kira, Chloe, Karina. No one will ever pronounce Chili as Keely until they're corrected. And Chili is so unpleasant looking that it takes all the beauty of the name Keely away. You're the asshole for doing that to a kid. Chili is so terrible, wow. Not the asshole. But do you think your daughter and you as well will spend a lot of time explaining how the names are pronounced? For example, I wouldn't pronounce Seely the same as Keely. And Chili would be confusing too. I'm just pointing this out as a complete outsider seeing the names for the first time. Not the asshole for not listening to relatives, but YTA for being cutesy. I know yours is a kid name, but as an example, I named my dog Kian hard C and not the Americanized Kian. Every vet tech for 16 years called for C and or Cyan. I named a puppy. You're naming what will one day be a fully functional adult who has to apply for jobs and introduce herself in meetings. You can name a child what you want, but I'm wildly confused. A boy would be named Charles, a very classic staid English name, for lack of a better term, a normal name. Yet when you have a girl, she will be given this crackpot made-up name that no one will be able to properly pronounce or spell. What gives? You're the asshole for naming your child Seely Chili. Think of how long she'll be correcting people on how to spell and pronounce her name constantly. It'll be a constant battle for her unless she either changes her name or goes by her middle name, and that's not even mentioning the potential bullying teasing from her peers. You're naming a person, remember that. NaH, it is your kid after all, but your family isn't wrong. I'm sorry, but that's a terrible name. No one will ever pronounce it correctly. Everyone needs an Angie in their life. One person who will absolutely tell you something you're about to do is just dumb. Esh. Your sister needs to stay in her lane. You need to not call a human being Seely Chili because there is zero chance that anyone will pronounce it correctly. I predict your daughter will shorten her name to C or Lee as soon as she can. I'm NGL when I read it as Seely. I have no clue how to spell it for real from the color purple, so while you're not that a whole, I promise people will pronounce it Seely instead of Keely. Only a Cody would name their kid